Okay, guys, I've had a number of questions about the Create Your Own Budget assignment. So I just wanted to create this little video to help you out and explain things to you a little bit more. Some of the questions have been technical, and some of the questions have been, what is monthly net income and things like that. So let me start with the technical questions. First of all, if you have Excel, you can just click this link and it will download the budget to your computer. You open it up, there it is. You make all the changes you need to, you save it, and then you upload it to Canvas just like anything else. Now, if you don't have Excel, or maybe you just don't want to use Excel and you'd rather use the Google Docs, then what you do is you're going to click this link right here. And the question that I've had from a few people is they email me and they say, I can't make any changes to the spreadsheet. And I know you can't make any changes. The reason why that is because this is just a template that I want you to use to create your own budget. And I made it to where people cannot make changes because I was worried that someone would come on and they would just start typing in their name and the date and the occupation and do all that. And then they would say, yay, I'm done. And then, an hour later, if another student comes on and erases all that and types in their name and date and occupation, then, that previous budget that was just created is now gone and now the new one is there. And so I've made this to where the students can't edit it, but what you do so you can edit it is you go to File and you click on Make a Copy. And it's going to ask you to name it, and I suggest you just name it something like this, my budget like this, and you hit OK. And what it's going to do is now it's going to bring up that exact same budget that is now yours. It belongs to you. So you can click in the box and you can start doing work with it. Okay, so that's how you get started with this budget. Now let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Let's say that you want to be a financial analyst. The first thing you do is you're going to go online, go to Google, go to some search engine, and you type in the career that you want and, type in something like average income for a nurse or average income for a financial analyst or something like that. And it's going to give you a few different numbers, but it's going to kind of help you get an idea of how much you would be making if you were to go into this career. And that number is what you're going to put here at my yearly salary. So let's say I want to be a financial analyst and I'm going to make $100,000 a year. That would be really awesome, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's your yearly gross salary. Now, first of all, most people get paid monthly, right? So we need to figure out how much would your salary be per month. You can pull out a calculator and you can do this, or if you're familiar with formulas in Excel, this is the same way. So I can do equals. You always have to do the equal sign, and then I do B and 10 divided by 12, and I hit tab, and it's going to give me $8,333. And that's my monthly gross income. Now this unfortunately is not what you get to take home and put in your checking account though, because you have to pay taxes. So the next column is taxes. And I just gave an overall like 30% is what everyone is going to pay. In real life, of course, it depends on your yearly salary, and it could be anywhere from no taxes, you not have to pay anything, to 30, I think now it's like 35 or 37%. But anyway, this is just a nice little average where, and most people, most families who are making a decent income, you're going to make something close. You're going to pay something close to this in taxes. But so they're going to take, before they even write you a check, they're going to take 30% of it out. So again, grab your calculator, or I'm going to do B12 times 0.3, that's 30%, and that's $2,500, okay? And then you will see the monthly net income automatically gets calculated for you. And what it did was your total gross income minus taxes, and in this situation, $5,833. Now, with this number, this monthly net income, that's what you're going to use to do all of these numbers down here. Now, I told you in the instructions to, really be honest with this. You know yourself and your spending habits more than anyone, better than anyone. So, let's say you get your dream job and you're making, $5,000 a month. Are you going to live in a small one-bedroom apartment, or are you going to buy some huge home? If you're someone who says, oh, my home is my castle and it means a lot to me and I know I'm going to want a nice home, then you want to do in the higher end of this percentage. If you're someone who is like, oh, I don't care, I just want to live in a one-bedroom apartment, then you can do the lower end. Same thing with utilities. Kind of think of, where are you going to be once you have that dream position? Is it going to be just you in a one-bedroom apartment? Or is it by that time, are you going to be living in a 5-bedroom house and maybe have 2 or 3 kids? And so, kind of think about that and say, am I going to be on the lower end or the higher end? And you're going to go through and do that with all of these numbers and all of these expenses here. Are you going to buy a brand new super nice car as soon as you get your job, or are you going to maybe keep the car that you have, and so your transportation costs are going to be lower because you're just going to be paying for gas? You see clothing. Do you like to buy clothes? Do you like to shop? Do you have to go and watch a movie once a week, or do you go out with friends to eat a lot? If you eat out, then your food expense is going to be a lot more than if you eat in most of the time. But you know yourself. So you figure out all of these. You take the percentage, and it doesn't have to necessarily be 35% or 25%. You may put 30% of your housing costs, but it just should be somewhere within this range right here. But you're going to take that percentage and multiply it by this monthly net income right here. So let's go through and let's put in some random numbers. And you'll see as I'm typing these numbers in, this number down here is changing automatically. That's my total amount spent so far this month. Let me just type in some super fast. Oh, wait, let me skip. I think you need to skip charitable gifts and debts until you've got the others in. I'm going to show you one second. But, okay, let's say I have all of my expenses in, and it shows my total spent as $3,300. Now, again, I'm making $5,800. A true budget, and it says it right here, is your total expense should equal your net income. Now, that doesn't mean that you're spending every penny you have each month, but it means you're accounting for where that money goes to. Okay? So at the end of the month, you don't want to just have this, money just sitting there in your bank account not accounted for. You want to do something with it. And that's where your charitable gifts and the biggie, your savings accounts or your investments come in. So if we're making $5,800, $5,833 per month, and we have paid all of our bills, and we've spent $3,300, then that means we have $2,533 left over at the end of the month that we can put into savings accounts or investments, or we can give as charitable gifts, such as to church or, any local charity, whatever you like to give to. So this is now when you're going to put in these two numbers. So let's say that you say, okay, 10% of my leftover money I'm going to give to, my church. So that would be, to make it easy, I say 10%. That'd be $253. And then the rest of it, you are going to give to, you're going to put it in the savings account. So that's $22.80 left over. So you put that right here, $22.80, and then you tab out, and right here, $58.33. Your total spent for that month now equals your monthly net income. So that's perfect, because that means every penny that you've made, you've accounted for, either by spending it on housing and food or by saving it. And then the last column I wanted to talk about right here, the type of expense, fixed, variable, or periodic. A fixed expense is just an expense that's never going to change. And an example is housing. When you buy a house or when you pay rent, you're paying the same amount every month. You're either paying a mortgage payment, which the bank has set for you, and it's the same every month, or you're paying rent to your landlord, which again, the landlord tells you $300 every month. Okay, so that's a fixed variable. A fixed expense. It's not going to change. Now, utilities, this is a perfect example of a variable expense. In the real world, one month your power bill may be $300 because maybe it's February and it was freezing and you had, your heat running all month long. Whereas in May, when the temperature outside is just nice and comfortable, your power bill may only be $150. So that is a type of expense that changes month to month. And what you would do in your true budget that you do each month is you would have kind of an average of, well, on average throughout the year, I spend $180 per month. But then you would keep up with still exactly how much you had to pay in, but you would have to know, this right here is kind of would be the average number. Cable, this one is kind of tricky because, like I have DirecTV, and every month we pay, I think it's like $50-some. But if I were to order a movie one month, then that month would cost me $60-some. So, that again, it kind of would depend on you. For a lot of people, it's fixed. For us, it's fixed because we don't really order movies or anything. But for some people, it could be a variable expense, depending on whether they order movies or games or things like that. Your cell phone is kind of the same way. I have a Straight Talk plan, and I pay $45 a month, and that's it. But, some people may have a plan where the more minutes you use, the higher your plan is, and so therefore one month you may have a $50 payment, and then the next month you may have an $80 payment. So those are kind of, just depends on what you have, again, what you do, etc. And then the last one is a periodic expense. The only one here possibly that could be like a periodic expense is like a haircut. You don't get your haircut once a month, most likely. Periodic expenses are good to prepare for. You could, sorry, what was I saying? Some people plan for like vacations, and once a month they put money aside into an account, maybe $100, so they can go on vacation to the beach in the summer. And that's a great idea, and that's a periodic expense. Some people have, on my budget at home, we actually have a line that says repairs under our, with our cars, just to kind of prepare for that. So there is an account out there that has some money in it, so if we have to do a car repair one month or something like that. So those are what is meant by the periodic expenses. Okay, if you guys have any questions at all, you know how to get a hold of me.